questions that you all have on what is happening with lending. Now, it's good to know what's happening during COVID-19 and this so-called crisis that some of you may believe that we're in, or maybe we are in, and I just don't believe it. But also what you're going to do after, what you're going to do over the coming weeks. I think this is going to be one of the important things to get yourself up to scratch with the knowledge of what's happening behind the scenes. And when I say behind the scenes, I just mean that, like, it's not maybe common knowledge amongst a lot of people right now, because you got too held up with all the hype of everything else that's going on. So before we get into that, I need you to like this, react to this. I need you to start tagging people. So start tagging all of your friends, your family, even the people. Just give people the opportunity to tune in and then tune out if they're not interested in this. But anybody who's looking to, like, you might just be thinking you want to get by. You might think you want to go into protective mode, but really what you need to be looking to do is to thrive in business, in your life, and especially in property investment, which is what this will be tailored around. But if you can understand how lending is happening and how it is working, then, oh my goodness, that is going to be the big difference. So first of all, what we need to do is make sure that we get this out there right now. So I need your comment. By the way, oh my goodness, do I have a special guest for you? We have an extremely interesting, knowledgeable, passionate about finance with over 25 years experience when it comes to like the legals and the finance industry, that has been a part of the transaction of a 1.2 billion pounds worth of lending. Yeah, so get your questions in. So if you want some questions, be the first to get your question in right now. Now, if you're watching this live, put hashtag live, because I want to know. If you're watching this on the replay, put hashtag replay, and also put your questions in, because you never know. You might even get more special treatment. We might even put videos together for you. So tag as many people as possible. So Amma, Sean, you're on here. Lewis, you're on here. Tag. You need to do it quicker. As many people as possible. Don't be shy. Don't worry about if they get annoyed that you tag them or what. They have the choice to respond, to watch, to stay on here or not. But all I want you to do is at least give them the opportunity to see if this is something that they want to investigate. You see, if they want to actually see that, yeah, this is part of my next stage of learning. So do tag away to see how we can add value to people. Because look, if you, and by the way, who's actually interested in the lending? What's happening in the lending market? Yeah, so all you people, don't just tag people, but also share it. So share it first of all on your timeline, and then share it into places that you know it's going to be of value. Share it even on your other social medias. I mean, we're on Facebook right now. Yeah, share this out onto your LinkedIn. I know we're doing some great challenges in the real life tribe right now too with LinkedIn. Put this on Instagram. Put some photos on there. People are on here are interested in knowing what's happening in the marketplace right now. So tag away as fast as you can. Let's get as many people on it as possible, because we want to make the most out of this time. I mean, are you with me? Are you with me in terms of you want to make the most of this? You want to ask your questions right here and now and get the uncut version of really what's going on. First-hand experience. Oh, this is going to be a good debate. Yeah, so while you're tagging, also put some questions in here, because I'm interested in the range of information that has been out there. Don't forget to give us your reaction as well. Thumbs up, give me some hearts. You give me some frowny if you're a little bit upset. That's okay. Also, I don't mind. Yeah, but just do something. Something's better than nothing. Yeah, tag faster, comment more. Tell me what it is that you want. By the way, where are you guys watching? I want to know. I'm always interested in the audience. Where are you watching? I mean, right now, are you still locked down in your own home? Are you somewhere else? Are you trapped somewhere? Are you trapped somewhere where you can't even get back? Comment and let me know your stories, so we kind of get the vibe of what's going on for you. Because when we start getting into the nuts and bolts and the nook and cranny of what is going on in this financial market, yeah, and the situations, great questions are starting to come through. I love this. Yeah, and I'm super excited to see what all the opinions are of the viewers also. So let's make this very interactive. Lots of comments, lots of opinions, because this is further than just today. This is further than just today. Yeah, we want to know, what is it that's going through your mind? What is it that you need to know? What is it that maybe even holding you back? Yeah, so what's on your mind where it's like, well, actually, I might hold fire because I'm a bit uncertain about this information. Yeah, I even heard some feedback and some comments that people who are investing in deals or looking to invest their money and get their money to work for them, these guys are uncertain. Why? Because they don't know what's happening, or the people doing the project who want to borrow the money, they don't know what to tell them either. Yeah, and some people are under huge illusions of what's going on. Yeah, so this is what's really interesting. Some people are in a massive illusion of what is going on in this marketplace right now. So just before we do this, you might lose me temporarily just for a second or two, because I just need to refresh because something's not working on my side. So just give me 1 second. You might lose me for a second, but don't worry, we will be back very shortly. Yes, am I here? Do you still have me? So now you need to comment to let me know that you can still see everything. Yeah, comment. I need to know. Yeah, it's my guest. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yeah, awesome, good stuff. So guys, everybody watching, just let me know so I know for sure whether whether you can hear me. Say yes, I can hear you. Say yes, I can hear you. If you can hear me, that's good. You know what's cool? I say it and then they all start coming through. So excellent job, people. So look, keep the comments, keep the questions coming all the way throughout. I may remind you, and also, you know, if you want to keep making sure you don't just get live interaction like this, but you get a continuous flow of the latest comments, the latest content, the latest ideas, strategies, how we are overcoming challenges, how we are overcoming this lockdown. If you want to know and see vlogs and video content all about how to keep your things going, keep your project going, keep your motivation going, be inspired, then go and subscribe to Real Life Group on YouTube. Make sure you do that. Real Life Group on YouTube. Write yourself a note right now. If you have a second device, go and do it right now. Go and do that right now. It's absolutely golden material that we're giving it. I mean, we actually post some videos on behind the scenes of how people are getting deals done in this current situation. So I think just that information alone, just to watch it happening, not just somebody talk about it. I mean, there's plenty of people who want to talk about it, but for the people who actually want to see it happening, see the phone calls, hear the phone calls, what are other people saying? How do I arrange deals to be moving forward? How do I continue my journey? That's what it is. So start tagging people if you think, hey, you know what, this information is going to be pretty good. You know, if just one extra person you can invite on to this, just to give them a little bit of insight, if it helps them, great stuff. You know what was awesome today? Had a comment on one of the posts that we put out there, and the guy said over the last 10 years, this guy's built an amazing portfolio, and the videos that he's just been watching on YouTube and on social media has helped him build a sizable portfolio. Yeah, and now he's looking to go much faster and further. So he's talking about becoming part of the Real Life Tribe, which you guys who are already in the Real Life Tribe, you understand the kind of input or the accelerator button, or if you remember the Fast and Furious days, that NOS button, yeah, that you press and how fast you accelerate. So listen, I want to get things rocking and rolling for you tonight. So I'm going to give you an introduction to a lady who I'm super excited to start asking some questions, because the universe brings us together. I think we're two very straight talking people. So we're going to get straight to the nuts and bolts of really what's going on. So if you do have any questions, then let us know as soon as possible right now in the comments. If you're watching this on the replay, put #replay and still ask your questions, because we'll go through this and monitor this. And if it's something we can answer on the comments, we will. If not, we'll create videos. So again, subscribe to the YouTube channel, Real Life Group, because that's where you're going to get notified. Turn on the notifications. You get notified every time that we bring out new videos. So look, this lady I want to bring on right now, if you was here at the beginning, you would have heard me say this, but I'm going to say it for you guys that are now on here. And that is that she has been part of a group and a team that has transacted over 1.2 billion. Yeah, that's billion in lending. Yeah, and most recently helped some people out in some very difficult situations to free up money so they can continue to operate their developments and their property projects. Yeah, she's very tenacious, very knowledgeable, over 25 years experience in legal and finance, and she is award-winning. Yeah, so this is the opportunity of a lifetime to be asking questions right here and now and just receive the answer right there on the chin. Might not be what you want to hear, but let's get into it and see what we got here. So let me just bring the wonderful Adele.
Hello.
Welcome, and thank you for joining us.
No problem. No problem.
Yeah, so look, the people are excited, and there's a few questions coming through. But just before we kind of get into that, in your opinion, if you were to just give a short and concise overview, if someone said to you, Adele, you know, with all your experience, what's happened? You know, give me an overview of what's going on in the market. What would you say?
I think it's the same as the rest of the world and the rest of the country, really. It hasn't stopped. It's merely paused, sort of. It's not a lack of liquidity. Lenders still want to lend. They've still got plenty of cash to lend, and they just physically can't because of lockdown. So the surveyors can't inspect in some cases. If you have an occupied property, legally they can't go in. So what's happened over the last few weeks that lenders have come up with alternative routes to get around this issue. So you've got a mix of desktops, of ABMs, of underwriting all the way through until lockdown comes out. The surveyor will go in and then they'll complete. So they've sort of shifted the process back to front to try and facilitate the pipeline that is still moving.
Yeah. Okay, good. So you say banks have plenty of money to still lend, but they can't because of lockdown. So just give us some of these. What is it that's stopping the banks from lending? You mentioned that your surveyors can't get out.
Well, legally in a lockdown, the surveyors can't enter the property.
Is this not classed as essential work then?
Believe it or not, I'm classed as a frontline work, which you find a little bizarre, but I am, simply because finance and the economy is as important as everything else.
Why is the surveyor aspect not? Why can't the surveyor go? If
the surveyor is having to go into a property that's occupied.
What if it's not occupied?
That's the exception. So if they're not occupied, they are able to go out. What has happened though, some of the national surveyors, so some, I won't mention the names, but some of the larger firms have just shut down. That was the decision that they made. So part of the service that we provide is that we're packagers. So we're directing to mainline packages, and we've worked out who is going out and who isn't within each area to keep things moving.
Okay, so you already know the surveyors, the valuers that have not just shut, because I think that's crazy. So I know some companies, I don't know if it's a difficulty thing, or maybe it was just very well set up from the people who are kind of, you know, orchestrating this whole thing of, oh, let's create something called furlough, which means that you cannot work, or we'll pay you not to work. So actually organizations will just shut down their business because it's more easy and straightforward to do so.
Well,
rather than mix and match.
It isn't, because when we looked at furloughing, the government pays 80% of their salary, and then they can't work for the business. So a business like ours, all of our admin support is furloughed, which means that then falls down to consultants. So you have to get the balance right. So we're looking at bringing people back on because we've gone through April would always be the dip. That would always be the worst part, and we're coming out of that now. So we're starting to see, I mean, business written and transactions coming in, there's no drop. We lost our pipeline when we went into lockdown, and that was a lot of lenders simply just shut up. Some said, let us see what happens in the next 3 weeks. So we've gone through that phase now, and things are starting to move again. But yeah, I agree. You don't just shut up shop because somebody else is paying 80% of your payroll, because you're going to have a business to go back to.
Yeah, but I think some organizations have done that or feel that they're forced into that. I understand how you're operating. I mean, all the businesses that I'm associated with and own and run, definitely we're not doing any of that like that. Yeah. In fact, we need more people. We want to recruit more. There's more opportunity to take advantage of. But I think what's really interesting is that if it's about keeping the economy going, then surely this is classed as key work.
It is, and that's why we're part of that group of people that can move around.
Hello. So can you still hear me? Can you still hear me? Yeah. So look, guys, this is a very interesting topic, right? And the topic being, hey, how is this whole scenario of keeping business going, keeping finance going, been orchestrated to say that, you know, people can still go out and install, you know, 5G, and there's still other types of works going on, when if valuers, surveyors, or even agents can still operate in unoccupied houses, then what's going to happen? I mean, surely this is still okay if it's unoccupied, yeah, or if we can make arrangements so it's unoccupied, yeah, especially if in this property investment world where most, well, I won't say most properties, but I know people who are doing strategies like conversions and, you know, converting houses into flats and into HMOs, or doing new builds or doing flips like a total renovation, then that side of it is just huge when it comes to, look, all of this market, all of these people, they're going to have nobody in the house. So for someone to come in to do their audit, for someone to come in to do what they need to do inside the house is very straightforward, isn't it not? Yeah. So can you guys still, oh, where am I? Oh, Jesus. Yeah, but you can still hear me, yeah? You can still hear me. Good, excellent. Yeah, so there's the major thing, right? So I know you guys have been thinking, and by the way, keep your questions coming. I'm sure she's coming back. Let me see what's going on here. Yeah. So you just need to refresh it and go in with the same link as I gave you before. Yeah. You know, how awesome is technology that you can actually just speak and it writes what you are speaking? I mean, some people who kind of don't really get this, they must think, wow, you know, Mo, you type really fast. Yeah, but I tell you something, what I do, even if it's not talking fast, I tell you what, is I'm open to what's happening in the market, and I'm super excited right now. That's why I was also excited to bring Adele on. Had a conversation with her before, seen some of the results she's been producing, you know, even with certain tribe members as well, which, by the way, in the mastermind that we have following this, I got something very special for you tribe members. I got something very special for you tribe members. If you want to understand and have more options when it comes to the lending during this time, but then also after as well, have people who are reliable and can help you move forward in these times. Because I'll tell you what the main thing is, and where we benefited the most, is people who are coming up with creative solutions, people who understand truly how the market works, not just kind of filling in forms, computer says no type of situation. Yeah, this is about understanding as a business, as someone who can add value and can make this work, to make it work for you and your projects. Ultimately, these are the big things. These are what I've seen are the make and break. So this is why during this session, I want you to get as much information your way. So you're not become an expert broker yourself. Yeah, you're not going to become an expert in that aspect of it. But also what you're going to do is you're just going to know enough. You just need to know enough to know if someone's trying to pull your wool over your eyes. Because I know there's a lot of people out there that, you know, claim a lot of stuff and claim the ability to be able to do certain things. But then when push comes to shove and times get a little bit difficult or not confrontation, but like, you know, there's a situation where you got to ask a certain question and you think it might get a little bit tough or it might get a little bit of friction there. Yeah, a lot of people, what they do is they back out of that situation. They back out of that situation and they don't really show up. Yeah, they're not showing up for it here. So absolutely key that we make sure that you guys can be in a position to do that. So where is our good guest here to make sure that we get the most out of this? So why this is happening, I think this is a good opportunity. Why don't you tag some more people? Let's tag some more people, because what is happening with lending during COVID-19 crisis, during this turn of people in a lot of uncertainty, you know, this is absolutely key. Yeah, and this is difficult. Yeah. So are we working now? Yeah, so this is absolutely key and critical that you know where you are, because I think what people might perceive as a lot of facts that are in the marketplace are merely just been people's opinions or something that somebody has seen somewhere, and then it becomes like one person tells the next person and they think now it's fact. But you know, the whole Chinese whispers scenario, as they say it here. Yeah, exactly. So also I've got some tribe members on here that are talking about awesome ways to make things work one way or another. Either you're going to find a way or you're going to create a way. Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen on here. Yeah, so let me see if I can get my good friend on here. You know what we're going to do? Try a different browser. Multitasking, that's what's happening. Put hashtag multitasking if you know what to do when you need to multitask. So also, let me get your questions here. Keep bringing your questions. By the way, if you posted a question earlier on, then copy and paste it back in here, just so you know. I'd rather read it out twice than not at all. Yeah. So if you have, people are asking more lenders come on. Look, keep your questions coming. Keep your questions coming. What is it you want to know? What is it about commercial valuations, the valuation of property? What's going to happen with the market? What's going to happen with loan to values? What's happened right now? What's going to happen to the future? What is it that the banks are saying? You know, is there information coming from the banks? Is there information coming from people who are still lending? I mean, I know that lending is definitely still happening, because I have seen the money go into my bank account. Yeah. And also we are still going out there doing refinance. We've got refinance going through right now. We've got the lending still happening on a couple of our other projects, which we were going through. Yeah. What if they cannot, the values are up by how much? What is this? What about if some banks are saying the valuers cannot go even if the valuer will? I don't know what you mean by that. The banks are saying the valuers cannot go even if the valuer will. Oh, so you're saying that there's like a different thing here. You're saying there's different stories. Something doesn't stack up. Yeah, something doesn't stack up. I totally get that. So I mean, we need to do this. You know, so if either Trisha or Shane is available and you're watching this, can you get hold of her? Can you call her and see you know what's going on and just help connect? But I think if you go into a different browser, you know, then that's going to be all good, and we can get on there because people are dying for it. I mean, are you interested? Did we get you excited enough to be really interested about this subject? Yeah, did we get you really excited about this particular subject? I mean, what? Why would you call me? Who's doing that? What am I supposed to? Yeah, I don't think I'm supposed to answer that call. Yeah. So what is totally awesome is I've seen this happen before. By the way, I mean, did anybody who was watching from when Adele was on here? You can see we're really getting into some interesting topic. Yeah, and we're really getting into it. And I've been on calls now in this whole lockdown, and the only way that we can really communicate is through this internet. What's being tracked and who is tracking what? Because I thought we'd get into something very interesting, and this happened to me before, and boom, it just cuts out. So the question is someone onto you? Is someone onto us? Is someone onto us? Yeah, we're sorting out a solution. Yeah, just connect from your, like, just do whatever it takes. Connect from your phone, connect from a different browser. Whoever's still watching this, start, carry on tagging. Carry on tagging some people. If you've just joined us, then share some. Yeah, share it somewhere. Share it on your timeline and say, hey, I'm educating myself. I'm upping my knowledge on what's happening with lending during this lockdown, during COVID-19, during a lockdown, whatever you want to call it, coronavirus, the 5G, you know, conspiracy theory, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. You open your knowledge. You open your knowledge for people who are still operating and who are still in there. Yeah. Awesome. So let's bring you in so everybody can hear you. Oh, there we go. Excellent job. So look, we're the questions have been coming in thick and fast. So let's start to get as many of these. Let's get as many of these answered. So if you had a question and you asked it earlier on, or anyone who asked a question, just copy and paste it again, because you know there's many comments coming through. So look, someone's asking basic question here, very straightforward. Is there still 75% loan to value lending? Is it still out there?
On buy to let, yeah.
On buy to let?
Yeah, on buy to let. On term lending there is. You're going to struggle on a bridge at 70. You're going to struggle on refurb or a bridge or development at 75% in the current climate. But you can have a buy to let at 75.
So only buy to let?
Yeah.
What about commercial? I know you just mentioned bridge, but what about commercial term mortgage for like a HMO?
So you're gonna get the same pushback whilst we're in lockdown. I'll be honest with you. Some of them will. So the ranging. So some lenders are still allowing you to get 75% on your HMOs, but they want to survey it. They want to physically go in. They won't accept an AVM because you can't get an AVM on a HMO anyway. They want to physically inspect. So you'll be able to take the application so far.
So an AVM, just for some people who might not understand some of the abbreviations, what's AVM?
Automatic valuation method, and it's a system. It's an actual system, is an AVM. So all the data's fed into it from around the country. You put in the postcode, type of property, and it produces a little bit like a Rightmove price sold prices, but there's a little bit more data that goes into it, and it produces a valuation, or a desktop, which is literally the valuer gets all the data and physically does a desktop himself rather than a computer doing it.
Okay, awesome. So are there any exceptions?
In what way do you mean, sorry?
Meaning people who are going to get 75%. And it's not a trick question. And the only reason I want to say is because, you know, we are currently going through a refinance.
Yeah.
And we're getting 75% loan to value. So I know this is based on we already have a track record. So yeah. And we have a relationship with the bank. Yeah. So I'm just wondering, are there any other exceptions? Are there any creative ways that you might want to advise people, or at least put some ideas out there so people can take this into consideration as they're moving through?
Yeah, I think look, you're 75. If you're wanting 75, you are going to need an inspection. So you're going to need to wait until lockdown is finished, so that a surveyor can actually go in. The lenders that are still at 75 are scrutinising applications. So if if it's a little bit outside policy, for example, you may struggle at the minute. But that's not to say that it can't be done elsewhere. There are plenty of options, and there's still a lot of lenders still doing it. So it's not a no from that lender means no.
So what you're saying is keep an open mind. Don't just take the first, computer says no type of answer. Yeah, I totally agree with that. I totally agree with that. What we got here? So what are the considerations we should be taking into account when choosing between development finance and bridge to let funding methods?
Okay. So bridge to let is actually a product by a rather well-known large lender that's just merged with another large lender called Precise, who are great. They're very, very good at what they do. It's a pre-packaged off-the-shelf product, and it works up to a certain degree. That product in itself is from Precise. Other lenders have started to do it. It depends on the extent of the works. If we're talking structural, which a lot of these guys are doing, it's borderline development. It may be too much for them. A lot of these lenders on a bridge to let product won't give you the costs of doing the work. So they will allow you to do it. They'll allow you they'll give you the money to buy it, but they won't fund the works. So they're all different. A heavy refurb bridge product should provide you with 100% costs, and whatever is left then goes towards interest and then your day one lend, whether that's because you own it or you need to buy it.
Awesome. Okay, good. And so over the last, I don't know what we're now, 6th week. I think this is the 6th Monday. Has in that time period, have all the people that retreated, when I say people, all the lenders that have retreated, have more come back to the market?
Yes.
That are lending again.
So, I mean, probably in the second week of official lockdown, Halifax and Nationwide, who are high street lenders that we probably won't use, they started to increase their loan to values. If the high street boys are doing things like that, it's positive. They are the ones that have the knee-jerk reaction and they run away and hide. So when they're starting to ease up on loan to values, it's very positive. Following that, what I have seen is that the loan to GDV has been cut slightly. So you used to be able to get 75 with some lenders. It was usually round about 70 to get the best terms. They've cut back to 65. And one of the reasons is that they fear there may be a slight dip when you're getting your exit mortgage survey done. So if they just pull back by 5%, they're giving you that little bit more headroom on the exit. And all that means is on day one, you need to put an extra 5% in.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So let's have a look at this. Well, so if you put questions earlier on, please copy and paste them again so we can get down to them. Yeah, because there were some awesome questions. Yeah, a lot of people are asking the same question of, are more lenders coming back? I mean, is it ethical and moral to say, who some of these people are?
Yeah, so you've got the likes of, Pepper have never stopped lending. They're not so much in your HMO. Paragon is still lending. They are one of the lenders that are doing the full underwrite all the way till survey and then waiting for lockdown to come out so that you can complete. TML are making noises, TMW, Birmingham Midshires, Shawbrook. Shawbrook are still lending, but they have capped their loan to value at 65%. So it swings and roundabouts. There will be a way through. It's going to be about client specifics and property specifics and their end goal as to what they want to achieve.
Yeah, so this information you're saying, like you say, Shawbrook, they cap it at 65%. Is that just what they're generally saying to the market, or is this, like you say, there's different scenarios for different clients they may have?
That's the you look. You could potentially get things agreed outside of that on a very, very strong case. But that's generally what they put out. So to every man and his dog, it's 65% loan to value. If you have a case for an exception, we can put it forward, no problem.
Yeah. So I suppose it's going to be very difficult to predict is the residential market, is the value going to drop? Yeah, but what we want to ask as property investors is, what about what about the value of commercial properties like HMOs, larger HMOs, blocks of flats? You know, like when we're going to, you know, look for lending on this, which is based on, well, it's an income generating asset, rather than, you know, I need to go sell it, or it needs to be, you know, so when it's income based and it's backed by that, what's going to happen to these?
So that's I guess what you guys call a commercial valuation. Surveyors will call it an SIV. So it's a single investment valuation, and that is a yield based valuation, which is what you guys work from. So sorry. There has been no, I've not seen any particularly strong opinions on this in reports. You've all got the caveated COVID-19 clause within there. I think if we do see a dip in values, I believe it will be created out of hype, because this is not like the recession. The recession, nobody had any money. It was completely different to what's happened. They've got money, they want to lend, they're just nervous about how long we're going to be in this phase, and that has a wider impact on jobs and employment, which then ultimately starts to affect prices. So it's a little bit of a false evaluation, and I do believe that some lenders are victims of their own negative predictions, really. If you start to put out that prices are dropping, guess what? People don't want to pay as much. Surveyors then get nervous, and then prices do start to cool. So I read a report from Knight Frank about 2 weeks ago that said this year we'll see maybe a 5% dip. Next year you'll get an 8% increase. So it will bounce back very quickly.
Yeah. Okay. So anybody who has any questions, keep them coming through. We need to ask thick and fast to get as many of them done as possible. But I suppose also, what, like, are banks more, like, is their workload larger right now, or is it less, meaning they got more time to speak to you on a more individual basis, or is it more because of all these payment holidays, or are they separate?
Yeah, so what happened, this was one of the reasons why a lot of the lenders did stop lending, and it wasn't to do with liquidity, it was to do with the fact that because the surveyors weren't going out, the new apps department were inundated with people trying to get applications in that could only go so far in the pipeline because the survey couldn't be done. So what they did was they took resources from there and put it into the mortgage holiday department so they could take the calls. The influx of calls was ridiculous. They could not cope. So that was another reason why lenders came out and said that we're not lending, is because they couldn't process it. That has started to flatten now, to want to quote the flatten the curve, that has started to die down now because most of those requests have been processed. I'm busier than I was before, and I was busy before. So, you know, whether that is a case of people are looking for advice of where the market's going, or they're just tire kicking, or there's so much going on. But I think it's
so
a positive thing.
Or are you doing more applications, or are you doing less but you're busier?
I'm probably doing the same level of applications, but I'm dealing with more people. Lots of new investors as well. Lots of new people wanting to take advantage of this. You know, there is always a time for opportunity. It is not just when prices are rising. Now, if prices did drop, would be an amazing time to buy. You always buy low and buy low and sell high. That's the ethos, isn't it? But there's never a bad time to buy a property. Never.
Awesome. So just to follow up on one of the answers that you gave around a dip happening. Someone's just saying, is that 5% dip on SIV or commercial?
No, I would say that would be on a bricks and mortar valuation across nationally. An SIV commercial valuation is almost like a spreadsheet evaluation of the property. You could do an SIV without visiting it. You just want to see that it's standing. But what I think they may do is they may caveat that report with, however, due to what's happened, we want to take 20% off your yield-based valuation to pull the figure down. They may not. I just see surveyors get very nervous. You know that they don't like to be pushed. So I think if there is something that is making them nervous that is national, they will use it.
But is this only going to be on bricks and mortar or commercial? I mean, what's going to make?
I think if you're talking about commercial resi like your HMO stuff, really, if you think about it, you're dealing with people who, the type of tenants that you're dealing with. There is no logical reason for those properties to be worth any less. If anything, they could be worth more because more people may need that cheaper accommodation at that level that you're providing. Because they may, their job circumstances may have changed. They may have had to, things that are going on in the background for them. So for me, HMO is still a sure bet. It's still the market that you want to be in. People still need these homes.
Mm-hmm. And will there be an impact for the first time lenders with no HMO experience? Well, let me rephrase that, because there's a big thing in the market that people say you cannot get a commercial mortgage on a HMO if you've not done it, or you don't have so many years of buy-to-let experience or the rest of it, which we know is total garbage, because ourselves and many other people that we coach, train, and mentor have been able to get, their first deal. They never bought an investment property before, and their first deal, and was able to refinance on the back end.
I think it all comes down to the strengths of the person selling the deal to the lender, because that's what a broker does. You prepare a proposal, you pull together all the strengths from the client and the property and experience. I was introduced to an investor very recently who does rent to rent, but he's never owned a property, and he looks after 20 tenants, for example. So normally, Precise, for example, would say that he doesn't have the experience. So we've pulled together his accounting, so you can see his bank statements, you can see the payments coming in and out. You can clearly see that he's managing it. You can build a case around it, and that's in with appeal now to get him agreed, because he does have. It's all about, do you accept the first knockback? Do you accept the first no? We don't. Well, I don't anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So what you're saying is you need someone who's not just going to operate on a textbook level.
Yeah.
And that's what we like, and that's what I like. We don't operate like that either. People, say this because I know you're into your personal development too. So I mean, I'm going to ask you a little bit more questions about that, a little bit later. But really, what I want to ask is, when you're going through a process and you kind of knocked off the rails, what's your advice of how people should deal with that? Should they just, you just said don't listen to or don't take the first answer but how do you know where to draw the line before you becoming totally irrelevant?
So that you're sort of wasting your time sort of flogging a dead horse. Well, I think your first no's never the time to give up now anyway. I once read a book, and it was about it's called The Dip, and it's about when to know when, to how to recognize when to give up. And there's a section in there, and it talks about most people give up on the horizon of success. So just as they're about to make it, because things have got really tough, they give up. Mm-hmm. So you then start to question yourself. I mean, look, if I will, when a client comes to me with an idea, if I think the idea will not work because, I don't know, you're trying to put a house on the moon, for example, I'll be very straight and say, you're never going to get that in a million years. But what about if we did it in Salford, for example, and come up with other ideas and bat it back and forward? The end game is you've still got your property, it's just not on the moon. There is always another solution. I think the first no is definitely not the place to stop. Definitely not.
Yeah.
There's so many lenders and so many options, and they are still lending. When we come out of this, it's going to be crazy.
What do you mean by crazy? Awesome.
Crazy busy. You're going to see people, we're going to be busy because the pipelines will have been released. But you're going to see people come out of this, and I think as a mindset, they'll be like, right, let's go for it. The ones that have been thinking about property investing, the ones that have been pulling all the plans together, they'll just hit the start button.
Okay. And then somebody's asking, can we get some clarity? Did you say possibly 20% of the yield of the valuation?
So the reason I say that is on a yield-based valuation, a lot of lenders will deduct 20% for your costs, and then lend and then do the evaluation against the net amount. So that's where the 20% is coming in. So they may use that.
Yeah. Okay. And how, because, you know, we are running out of time because we do need to prepare for our mastermind. So you're going to be joining us in our real life tribe in our mastermind, which is going to be awesome. And we'll get some, you know, real down to the nuts and bolts of questions. But before I do, what I'm interested in is, what about yourself and the people who you're interacting with? Where's people's mindset at, or how much of the game when it comes to, do I carry on moving forward, or what do I do with my lending, or where do I draw the line, is to do with the mindset?
All of it. My mindset is from
all
a
of it.
business.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. Your mindset is everything for everything in your life. The way I judge my week as to how successful it's been, is the phone still ringing? Yes, it is. There you go. As long as the phone's still ringing, I'm still going to be here. You know, it's when it stops ringing that there is real concerns, and it's ringing more than ever now.
Okay, cool. But like you said, like 100% of it is mindset.
I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. I mean, I'm in agree. I think everything is in the mind.
Yeah,
you know,
it is. I think if you believe, you can achieve.
Yeah, I mean, that's the principle of success.
Yeah.
But people don't even believe that is. So that's the challenge. So what advice do you have for the people around, look, this uncertainty in the market, a lot of information is being released with valuations going to go down, which now people are uncertain. Is there, because people are working out their deal, does it work because I'm going to refinance it on the back end at this value, and if I can't get that, it doesn't work anymore. So people are saying deals don't work anymore, when I don't think there's any solid information.
No, there isn't.
Said anything.
There isn't.
So what advice do you have to people around?
I think if you have an opportunity there, you may need to restructure the working of the deal, whether that's the lender, whether you go for an 80% rate instead of a 75% rate to take care of any dip. I think opportunity is there to be taken. It may look a little bit different by the time you come out the other end, but you've then got your foot on the ladder. You're then part of the race. If people are holding back now because they're nervous. I had a guy who stopped before survey, before lockdown, and then he lost the deal because he didn't instruct the survey, so the lender now won't do the deal. And his answer was, well, I'm not going to be able to do any work. My argument was, you should have continued and got it all the way into legals, and you could have held off on completion and secured the deal as it was. I think if you lose anything on a valuation, you're going to gain it very quickly, because we're going to bounce back very quickly.
Okay, good. So what's your input? You've already said banks have plenty of money. Yeah, and they want to lend.
Yeah.
I mean, that's because it's all fake money anyway. But like, what's your insight, or what's your, knowledge of, what about the money? Do people have cash to invest? Are people?
Yeah, so I've every investor that I've spoken to, probably this month so far, they still have capital to invest. Some don't. Some maybe need to use additional security. That is another option. That could be your option that fits, that's the final piece to your jigsaw puzzle. If you do get a slight down valuation, you could take additional security over something else to bridge that gap.
Yeah. And what's your advice to people who have money in the bank, where now they might have be like, oh wow, I'm a little bit uncertain, I don't want to invest it in anything, especially not stocks right now, because I'm not sure what I'm doing, but also I'm not sure what's happening in the property market. What's your advice for people with cash? What should they be doing?
Well, without wanting to get into financial advice to the masses, if you have property plans and you had plans before this, I think you should continue. We've been paused. Like I said, there's not a lack of liquidity, which is devastating beyond anything. It's just a pause. The danger of this pause is if it goes on for too long, it will have bigger ramifications. So if you've got the cash, what are you waiting for? without being too blunt, I think you should get on with it. Just come up with your plan Bs. Come up with your plan Bs. Come up with your plan Cs. Come up with your alternative routes, which is what I do. If this happens, we go this way. If that happens, we go this way. And plan it out, but keep going.
Yeah. Okay. And Dominic, you might have to give us a bit more info on this question, but you're saying if you are just about to purchase, let's say 4 weeks time, for argument's sake, do you think that this will be normal at the time of refinance? So you might need to clarify that a little bit, but I think what he's suggesting his question is, if we just go into the deal right now, do you still think that by the time the refinance, everything's going to be the same?
I can't. I wouldn't be able to answer that, to be honest. I think in 4 weeks' time is possibly a little bit too soon. If you were saying 8 weeks, then I'd say that we're out of the woods. You know, if we're in a lockdown now, we've got another 2 weeks. We may get another 3 weeks lockdown. Who knows?
Okay.
That's not to say you're not going to get the valuation you want, though. So.
And what about people who what impact may exercising payment holidays have for people who may have current projects that want to refinance or get funding and all of that?
Okay, so this was something that we looked at straight away. So the government has said that it's not allowed to affect your credit score. Experian and Equifax and ClearScore have all come out and said we won't report it. However, what will happen is lenders will ask you, have you taken a payment holiday? And the moment you say yes, if you have, because you have to, they will decline. Because it looks like you struggled during a time when probably a lot of people were struggling and they would feel nervous. And that would probably last for anywhere between 6 to 12 months. So in the last 12 months, have you taken a payment holiday? I have a client who has...
You think it's just going to be basic, no, I'm going to decline you?
If you're using a lender, maybe one of the bigger, more high streety type lenders, potentially, yes.
Okay, high street lender. I'm not. I mean, does anybody use high street lenders for property investing?
I
mean, you're just talking about buy to let, right?
Yeah. So if you look at TMW is owned by Nationwide, which is a high street lender. So it's all about who owns them in the background. I don't know 100%, but my feeling is, and my advice to people is, don't take the payment holiday unless you desperately need to. Yeah.
No, that makes sense. What about people with current projects? So like think of the bank scenario or what they might ask. If current projects where it's shut down because of this, which means taking a payment holiday makes sense and is justifiable. And there's no struggle of, I can't get tenants or anything because it's mid-project, so there is no tenants. And then they say, have you taken a payment holiday? And this was the situation. What would then be the scenario?
So a payment holiday on a term facility and a payment holiday on a bridge are two different things. So if you're talking about term lending, which would be a buy-to-let, your 25-year mortgage, it would likely to be seen negatively. If you're in the middle of a project and your builder's walked off site because he's not allowed on site, that's slightly different. And it can be worded differently. And what I am seeing is a lot of the refurb and development lenders are actually extending facilities, so they're adding another 3 months on the other end. You've just got to contact them now, get in touch with your broker, get in touch with the person who set it up. How do I liaise this? How do I communicate this? A lot of them have been very supportive.
What about if the payment holiday is taken because your house is full? Let's say you got HMO, 6, 7, 8 beds, something like that. Your house is full, but 50% of them or more lose their job.
Okay.
But you're not or they're not being paid for a certain period of time. It was on zero contract hours, something like that.
Yeah. So I mean, that is a
plausible. What would be the situation there? Because you're not kicking them out, and if they're not going to leave, then it's the Section 21 has been extended to 3 months rather than 2 months. So
that is a plausible explanation that there is no cash coming in. It would be the very last resort, but that is one of the plausible explanations. I have had calls from landlords that just wanted to exercise it, even though the rents were still coming in, and it's just not. It's frowned upon, really. It should be used for people that desperately need it. Yeah, like your tenants aren't paying. That's got to be the biggest reason.
Awesome. So yeah, very interesting, because I have a saying that I say, do the right thing for the right reason. That's what I say. And on top of that, because that's the only way you're really going to discover your true potential. So what you're saying is that the karma, law of attraction, whatever it might be out there, that the people who may take advantage of this payment holiday when it's not really justified in, I mean, they might justify in their own mind of why to do it, but like what I'm saying is, then I mean, this is what I'm seeing. I know it's going to come back. I just want your opinion.
Yeah, I think the bite that you're going to get back will be bigger than the payment holiday that you took. If you are active, if you're looking for funding when we come out of this, and you've taken a payment holiday when quite clearly all your rents are coming into your bank account, the lender is not going to like that. So one of the reasons would be, yes, I had to take a payment holiday because 50% of my staff were NHS workers or were all made redundant, for example. You can see clearly on the bank account that the rents had stopped coming in. That is a very, very plausible explanation. Payment holidays were really put in place to support residential mortgages. That can be utilised by landlords as well, should they need it. It's that should you need it. It's about being authentic, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're taking advantage of something that somebody else could need. You don't need it, unless obviously you do and you've got no rent.
So going back to the original question is, if you exercise payment holiday, rather than it just be a no, really, it's going to be like, why did you take it?
Well, it should be, yeah. It should be a full explanation. Well, let's have a look, get some supporting documentation, your bank statements, maybe some emails from your tenants, put that together and then put that in with your application. It's all about how
you would suggest to do that before they ask the question.
Yeah. A good broker should thoroughly go through all of the documents and ask you all the questions before a lender does anyway. So with the way that I'll tend to look at all deals, I'll ask you questions that you'd probably never even thought of, come up with solutions to problems that may or may not happen. So when it does happen, the plan's there to go to. The document is there on file.
Okay, so thank you very much. Like, we are literally running out of time. We're going to hop onto the mastermind right now. But thank you very much for joining us. This information is on this page. Go subscribe to the Real Life Group YouTube channel, which is where not just this video, but many other videos are about, so you can learn and you can advance yourself. But let me just tell you something before we end this right now. The Real Life Tribe Mastermind is going to happen. Adele is going to be joining us, so you're going to get extra time to ask more questions. And I know a lot of you might be thinking, hey, how do I get through times like this and future times? Because who knows? Yeah. There's going to be tough times coming like this again. You know, it's going to come in waves. I think the message has already been sent to us through various, what do we call
mediums?
Mediums and all the rest of it. Yeah, so it's going to happen. It's going to come in waves. So how do you deal with it this time? How do you deal with it next time? I don't know the true answer, but what I do know is everybody in the Real Life Tribe, me, Trisha, and everybody right now, we are finding solutions to the challenges and issues that arise. In fact, it's become a little bit of a game, and it's actually quite fun. And then what makes it fun is we have a very strong, supportive environment around us. Adele agrees with my opinion too, before I even told her what it was, where it's all in the mind, you know. And anybody who wants to deny or justify some other story of that it's not in your mind, the mindset aspect of it is absolutely critical. And to sit there and want to do it by yourself is a very crazy approach to take, because you don't need to do it by yourself when there's other people that know the information, and you can work together as a tribe and as a team, just like we have been doing and will continue to do, and all the love and the support that is there as well. So guys, thank you very much for joining us. Right now we're going to hop over to the mastermind. There's not even any break, so let's do that. Thank you very much, Adele.
Bye, everyone.
And everybody, you have to remember that you've got to do the right thing for the right reason, because that's the only way you're going to discover your true potential. So if you want to know anything about any of this, go to reallife-group.com, because that's where you can access many free resources and also some great trainings as well. Great trainings. I'm talking about the awesome trainings that are happening. There's one on the 6th of May, a couple of weeks away, not this week, next week, where we're actually going to give you an A to Z checklist. So the checklist of how to find a property right through to get the profit in your bank account. And I'm telling you, this was working before lockdown. For the last 18 months, we've done it this way, and it works in lockdown. So it just goes to show, if it can work in these scenarios, we've already been doing it. It's very seasoned. We're very seasoned on how to operate these strategies in these difficult times, because we've already been doing it. We've already been practicing. So if you want to learn that, get yourself registered. I'm going to put the link in here. But if you don't find the link to the A to Z checklist training, just go to reallife-group.com, because that's where you'll be able to find the link to these trainings, these free resources, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, because that's I'm telling you, that's where you're going to stay up to date. That's where you're going to stay motivated and inspired to make sure you keep moving forward. Because don't wait. Nobody's got to wait for you. Time doesn't wait. Time is pressing, so do the right thing for the right reason. So mastermind's happening right now. Real Life Tribe people, I will see you in there. For everyone else, thank you so much for joining us. I love you all. Keep moving forward. Reach out, message Real Life Group, whatever it is that you need, put it forward to us, and we will help you.